Good morning, beauties. Welcome back to my channel, officially episode number 2, where we get to talk about this thing. Kind of the co-star of this channel, I guess. Anyway, this is my 2019 Lamborghini Huracan LP580-2. For those of you that don't know what the LP designations or thingies are, we're going to call them thingies, it's the technical term. The 580 means that this car is equipped with 580 horsepower from the factory, two-wheel drive. The LP610, which is the sister of this model, is a 610-4, which is 610 horsepower, four-wheel drive. Anyway, I chose this one for a couple of different reasons. I prefer rear-wheel drive. It's a heck of a lot more fun. It's kind of one of those things where you don't really know if you're going to make a turn when you're going really fast or if you're going to end up in a tree. And that's kind of part of the fun of all of it. Obviously, this thing's got quite a few mods. Let's start with the color. Okay, this car is originally black. It's called Nero Noctis from Lamborghini. You'll figure it out. I'm a huge car color person. I'd have to know the names for all of them. Anyway, Nero Noctis from factory. Nero meaning black in Italian. Noctis is night or some nonsense like that. Everything has changed since I got it. I've had the car now for almost 5 years. Then it went Gloss Plum Explosion, which is a royal purple, really, really cool. Then I got kind of bored with it, and the wraps based on how I drive this thing don't last more than a season or two. We'll show you in a minute, but the condition of this is rough right now. And then for the last 2 seasons, it's been Fierce Fuchsia, which is this, I call it pink. Everyone calls it purple. It's pink, guys. Well, my license plate says it's pink, so we're gonna go with pink. Anyway, so that's the whole color transition. It has been this color. I probably won't change it from this color because this has become very me. And I feel like I can't drive a car that's any other color but this. Let's talk a bit about the body kit on this thing. So Vorsteiner USA, Vorsteiner North America, has provided all of the carbon bits on the car. So the front lip, which by some grace of God has not been destroyed yet. It's pretty rough at this time of year. It is the end of the 3rd season with this thing. It needs to be rewrapped. It's really bad. It's actually in good shape underneath. It's just the wrap looks rough as hell. Okay. This thing is rough. That was done by Vorsteiner. We got the actual first lip ever in production for the 580. I'd waited for this thing for almost 2 years. They make everything for the 610 for this car, for the 4-wheel drive version, because the bumpers are very, very different. But for the 580, nobody does any carbon lip add-ons for it. So we had to wait forever for it, and I got the first one, which I was super excited about. And I haven't smashed it to bits yet, so anyhow. Okay. Side skirts, also by Vorsteiner, obviously. And then my favorite carbon bit is, of course, the wing. It completely changed the profile and the look of this thing. Before, it's just a very streamlined car. I think the wing really broke up the kind of sleekness of it and just gave it some visual interest at the back. Oh, and it also matches the carbon on my exhaust too, so that's a plus, but we'll go through that in a minute. Okay, so also by Vorsteiner are these wheels. These are the second, well, technically 3rd set of wheels that I've had on this car. The first were the stock ones. I'll show you guys a picture of those. The worst wheels that Lambo's ever made for the Huracan. Sorry, Lamborghini North America. I hated them. So those came off almost immediately. Then I did a Lightspeed Racing black gloss wheel, which I really, really liked. But then Vorsteiner came to me and asked me if I wanted a free set of wheels. And heck yeah, I wanted a free set of wheels. So they made me these, and they put me in a whole bunch of the promos and ads. They took a whole cool, really cool photo shoot of this car with these wheels on it, and I've been rolling with them ever since. They have been awesome. They've gone through so much, and they are literally in perfect condition still. So I'm pretty stoked about it. They are staggered, so a 20-inch in the front and a 21-inch rather at the back. Factory is only 20 and 20s, so non-staggered, just 20-inch all around. So I love that about them too, because it really changed the profile of the vehicle. So I shouldn't be complaining, but my least favorite thing about this car is the fact that it's got steel brakes. Yuck! Okay, so they look pretty cool, and most people are always commenting on the fact that they're green and they match the green interior, which I'll show you guys in a minute, so everything ties together really well. However, almost all of the Huracans out there, because most of them are 610s, have carbon ceramics. The 580 came factory with steels, and it was an upgrade. So very, very, very few people actually went for the upgrade. This car, when I got it, was pretty well new, but it was a month old. So the previous owner had it for, I think it was like 40 days. And I bought it with 1,130 kilometers on it, back from Lamborghini. The car was sold and then came back to Lamborghini on consignment. And I scooped it up literally the day that it came back to the shop, because I was looking for a 580 pretty well the entire summer, and I got this in July. So I wish it had carbon ceramics. So I again, shouldn't complain because I love the car, but we need carbons on it. Also, I had to add grills to this thing. So from the factory, a 580, for whatever reason, versus the 610, which actually does have it, doesn't have any covers or protectors for the rad or any of the coolers. Super weird, but based on the fact that this thing's got literally 63,000 kilometers on it, the rad was getting destroyed. So I had to get my friend Bruno to retrofit these wire grills in there to give the rads and the coolers some protection. But yeah, so that's one more thing there too. As for the exterior kind of looks wise, that is pretty much it. The pink and the green combination gets a ton of attention, which is pretty cool. There are a ton of people that stop me and ask about the car, which I'm always really, really humbled about. It usually looks better than this, but I drive the shit out of it. And so it's going in for a rewrap in just a couple of months, but I am really humbled by the fact that people appreciate the car and people are like kind enough to come and talk to me about it. It is probably my most favorite thing about this car is that the attention it gets is almost always positive, especially from the kids, my favorite. So I'm always like inclined to let people sit in it and take photos with it and all the rest of that good stuff. And again, I drive the heck out of it. There's in, I guess, 3.5 seasons with this car in terms of like summer seasons. I don't drive it in the winter. It's rear wheel drive, I'd die. It's got 63 almost 1,000 kilometers on it. So it's definitely not a garage queen. And you know, a lot of people with these things don't drive them as much as they probably should.
Ferrari.
And aren't as like welcoming to people as they probably should be.
Porsche.
Or as I think that they should be. So it's fun that this thing is always out and about and doing fun stuff. Okay, who wants to say what? You want to pick one, obviously. Come on. So that's pretty much everything for the exterior aesthetics wise, but let's go into some performance mods. So first and foremost, Akrapovic exhaust. Probably one of my favorite things on this vehicle in terms of how different the car sounds now with this exhaust. Came factory with a sport exhaust from Lamborghini, which also sounded fantastic, but this thing took it to the next level. Very excited about it. Other than that, this thing is tuned. It has been tuned. Sorry, Lamborghini, since basically the day that I got it. It was one of the first things that I did with it. It is called an AK-47 tune. And it gives this thing a whole bunch of gurgles and pops and backfires, which is super rad. Sadly, no flames, maybe one day. It involves literally decatting the entire car, and it's an engine out modification. So it's a lot of work, and I haven't wanted to be without the car for that long, so I've been putting it off. Maybe I'll turbo it at that point too. Anyway, one thing that I should probably mention in terms of like performance mods and also aesthetic stuff would be the suspension. This thing is pretty slammed. From factory, this thing is basically 4x4. It looked like the Strato, if anybody's familiar with those. It's high, it was really high. I hated it. Funny story about the suspension and also about me driving the shit out of this car is that we were on a cruise and Lucas and Jake were leading and I was the third, and Jake went flying over this bridge. He was in the Porsche, no problem, boop, right over it. Lucas and I literally caught air going over this thing. I hit the ground so hard, it was like smash, smash, smack. And then after that, one of my shocks blew and it was really, there was fluid everywhere. The car felt really sketchy for, I would say probably a week or something after. I'm like, there's something not right. I brought it to the shop, they put it on the hoist, and as soon as the spring decompressed, or the shock rather decompressed, fluid just spewed out. The seal was completely gone. The only thing that was holding it together was the weight of the car on it. Needless to say, I had to redo one of the shocks this year and probably another one in the springtime, so oops. Okay, so let's talk a bit about the interior. So my favorite part of the interior is the, oh God, this thing is really dirty, guys. I'm super sorry. Again, I drive the car. It needs a detail so bad. Cucitura, which is probably one of my favorite things from Lambo in terms of the interior options. It's been around for ages, but I like it and I like the way it looks. So the green stitching matches the exact color of the calipers. That also came like that from factory. Also the headliner matches the seats, which most people don't notice until they actually get in the car. But it's a really cool complement. The stitching runs all across the dash in the green as well. Other than that, in terms of interior stuff, I did a whole bunch of carbon pieces on here as well that did not come from factory. The door handles, the vents, that's pretty much it actually. So 6 pieces, both door handles and all 4 vents on the dash itself. Now, something else that didn't come from factory this damn cup holder. So this is an option that is, well, at the time was a $600 option that whoever spec'd this car decided wasn't necessary. We need a cup holder, guys. Like, how am I supposed to have a drink in here? I decided that I was going to retrofit one in, so I bought the parts from Lamborghini. So it was the new dash like piece here, and then the actual cup holder, which is a huge unit that is actually about this deep. So in order to install that, which I've never done before, I went on Google and found a really shitty tutorial about how to do it, and I had to drop the entire dash. So the glove box had to come down, everything under here had to come down. There was a whole bunch of plastic pieces, including the sides, that had to come down. It was a disaster. I was sitting upside down on this seat trying to get into this. My feet were literally on the headrest and one was out of the door. It was hilarious. There was a whole lot of swearing that night. It took me, because I had never done it before, a good 2 hours, maybe 3 hours. It was so bad. Needless to say, I got a cup holder. And then on one of the rallies, I was racing my friend Dave, and I had a Red Bull in here and the whole thing spilled, and now it's sticky. So I had to add a tab so I can actually pull the damn thing out, because it doesn't open by itself. So after all of that, I still managed to fuck up my cup holder. Also, future mods for this thing is trying to figure out how to get a baby seat or a booster seat on this seat. So if anybody has any suggestions on how to put a baby seat in a 2-seater supercar, I'm up for it. But it's got to be Alcantara, and it's got to have green stitching, obviously. So that is the rundown on my car. It'll probably look a little bit different in spring by the time this thing is all rewrapped and refreshed. And then a month later, it'll look exactly like this again, but nonetheless. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. And let me know why a Lamborghini is better than a Ferrari and a Porsche and a McLaren. Anyway, have a good one, guys. Thanks for watching. Just kidding. I couldn't leave you guys hanging without a cold start.